ชีวิตที่ถาวรและหนึ่งชีวิตที่จะต้องจบโดยไม่มีสิทธิ์จะเรียกร้องบ้านเมืองที่มีเมืองแรกคงจะชิบหายเละเทะและขาดข้องในนามของคนอุ้มก็อยากได้คนละหนึ่งเสียงเพื่อลุกมาปกป้องไว้
As an indigenous person, I like to say we did not just protect the forest for our own, but for the countries, for the entire world. Because everyone needs the forest, everyone needs a good nature. I only identify myself as indigenous people when I was 18. Before that, I'm trying to hide my identity because the people understood that indigenous people are uneducated, unhygienic, even the forest destroyer. So therefore, it's really hard to identify yourself as indigenous people. There's a lot of things that I love about community. We live close to the nature. We don't have kind of a wonderful playground like in the city, but our playground is climbing the tree, collect a seasoning fruit from the forest. We as indigenous people, we live in the forest, we rely on natural resources. We have our traditional or our own ways to manage and to protect the forest. Recently, the government just adopted many laws that restrict the livelihoods of indigenous people. They declare a forest a protection area. We're overlapping with our communities. Since then, we become an illegal resident living in that area, even though we lived there before, for years, for generations. I'm working with the Indigenous Media Network. I'm doing this because I think it's the most important thing that we have to create a space to get the people to understand each other.
หน่วยงานที่มาช่วยกันทำให้เรารู้ว่าเราและเยาวชนทุกคนไม่ต้องการเหมือนแร่ค่ะ
Being indigenous journalists here sometimes is quite risky, particularly when we report about the conflict. The indigenous people's rights being violated by the authorities or the private company. Billy, I knew him in 2013. He's trying to attend different workshops that we conduct. But he said that he liked to improve his skill to learn about laws and has to demand for their rights. He never hesitated to reach out to any organization that could help to rescue his villagers, his fellows. I remember exactly on that day we had a workshop and we were expecting for his arrival, but we heard that he was caught by national park officers, and after that no one found him. From days turns week, from week turned a month, and then we realized that okay, he might now disappear. Around 2019, the Department of Special Investigations found the bodies in the burial sank in the Kristensen's dam. The DNA is matched with Billy. We assume that he was kidnapped and murdered and burned in that burial. That story happened to Billy. It's make me and many people at that times we were shocked about that situations, and meantime we also angry that Billy is no harm to anybody, and if our country have judicial system, why don't we process the case fairly? The incident that happened to Billy has changed our ways of working as a human rights defender. we realized that forced disappearance can be occur at any times, at anywhere, at any country, including Thailand. The country that we believe in the peace, a land of smile, but another sign of coins. So from now on, we're trying to be more careful in working with the leader that voicing out for their communities. My career provide a capacity building for young indigenous group to become indigenous journalists, because no one can tell the story better than themselves. If we continue doing this kind of promotions, I think one day we will reach our goal, and we won't stop until we reach it. Because if you stop fighting for your rights, that means that all of your rights will be oppressed. I like to see Thailand as a country that everyone's are equally treated, particularly the livelihoods in living with the forest, protecting the forest being accepted both by the public and by the national policy. And I thank you very much for the Danish youth who involved in the action days. It's proof that our actions, our initiative that we have done so many years, so right now it's being heard. Your actions is encourage us to continue this kind of initiatives to protect the forest for the people and for the world. Okay.